The message spread across the Alliance communication channels like wildfire. All 7 alien species that ruled the galaxy for hundreds of years were now in panic. Prepare yourselves. A human warship is about to enter the battlefield. Admiral Vextar of the Solarian fleet moved his jaw nervously as he looked at the reports. Humans were once thought to be primitive just 20 years ago. Now they had somehow built a warship better than anything the combined fleets had. How true is this information? He asked his main intelligence officer. Lieutenant Commander John Miller stood straight and tall. He was one of the few humans allowed to watch and learn in the Alliance military. Many did not like having him there, but his knowledge about how humans fight had been very helpful. The USS Defiant will arrive in the Proxima sector in about 3 days, sir. It is better than our most advanced big ship by at least 2 steps in technology. The Solarian admiral's many eyes narrowed. And why would your people send such a ship into fighting space? Are they starting a war with the Alliance? Miller's face stayed calm. No, sir. They are answering the Cronin attack into human space. The Defiant is being sent to show strength, not to fight right away. A show of strength, Vextar repeated, his voice bitter. Your kind has been traveling in space for barely 100 years, Commander Miller. The Alliance has kept peace across 12,000 star systems for thousands of years. Yes, sir, Miller replied, not showing any feelings. But maybe that's exactly why humans fight differently. We've had to learn thousands of years of war, knowledge in just a few decades. On the main screen, the early drawings of the human ship turned slowly. Even in this rough picture, there was something hunter-like about its design. It was smooth, had clear purpose, and was very different from the big, simple ships that Alliance builders liked. Captain Susan Hayes stood on the bridge of the USS Defiant, watching the stars streak by as the ship moved through hyperspace. As the ship's leader, she carried the weight of all humanity's future on her shoulders. This mission wasn't just about keeping human colonies safe. It was about setting humanity's place in the galaxy. Status report, she ordered, her voice steady, even though she felt tense inside. All systems good, Captain, replied Lieutenant Alan Brooks from the weapons station. Weapon systems fully ready, shields at top level. We'll reach Proxima sector in 3 days minus 1 hour. Hayes nodded, looking at the screen. And the Cronin fleet? Our spies say 7 battleships, with about 20 smaller ships, Brooks answered. They're moving to attack New Eden Colony. They're about to learn that was a mistake, Hayes said quietly. The Cronin Imperium had never met a species quite like humans before. War Commander Draz studied the history records with growing worry. While the Alliance species had grown through careful natural change on their gentle homeworlds, humans came from a death world, a harsh, rough planet that had shaped them into natural survivors. Their history is nothing but war, he told his advisors, looking through Earth's bloody past. They fight over resources, ideas, land, even small differences in how they look or what they believe. They've made tools just for killing each other at an alarming speed. And yet they've joined together, asked his chief planner. It seems the threat of dying out is the one thing that could force them to work together, Draz replied. When they met the first aliens, they right away began getting ready for possible fighting. Their military spending grew 10 times bigger within a single human lifetime. Scared cave people, the planner laughed. Draz silenced him with an angry look. Thinking less of them would be a big mistake. How they grew has made them very dangerous. Their planet's stronger pull gives them physical strengths. Their 2-eyed vision grew for hunting. Even their stomach systems can process poison things that would kill most thinking species. He brought up the file on the coming human warship. This ship, the Defiant, shows everything that makes humans scary. It's built not just to defend but to attack. Their weapons are made to cause the most damage rather than just stopping enemy systems. And their leader, the image of Captain Hayes appeared on screen. She has a name for unusual fighting plans. Her last ship successfully protected an outpost against forces that had 3 times more ships and people. We have 10 times more than them, his weapons officer pointed out. The Alliance had 100 times more than them when they first made contact, Draz said back. Now humans have meeting places on worlds and trade deals with every big power in the area. They don't think like we do. They don't fight like we do. On the bridge of the Defiant, Lieutenant Greg Wilson was running battle practice games. As the HFY ship's weapons officer, he needed to understand what the Cronin fleet could do and where they were weak. Their shields are mostly on the front parts, he explained to Captain Hayes. Their culture values face-to-face fighting. They think attacking from behind is without honor. Hayes smiled. Then we'll be very without honor. Keep looking, Lieutenant. I want to know every weakness we can use. Yes, Captain, Wilson replied, turning back to his work screen. Chief Engineer Kelly Ramirez spoke over the comm. Captain, I've finished the changes to the shield settings. We should be able to get through their defense screens with 73% success. Great work, Kelly, Hayes responded. Keep me updated on any more improvements. As she studied the battle display, Hayes felt a strange mix of pride and worry. Humanity had come so far in such a short time, but they were about to make a statement that would change their place in the galaxy forever. The Alliance Council called an emergency meeting as news of the coming face-off spread. We cannot let this fight get bigger, declared the Tellurian representative. If the humans destroy a big part of the Cronin fleet, it will upset the entire area. Maybe that is exactly what they want, suggested the Void-born ambassador, their see-through skin glowing with patterns of concern. Humans have always wanted more. Creating chaos would let them grow their power. The Alliance High Marshal, a veteran of countless peacekeeping operations, raised a hand for quiet. You're missing the obvious, he said. The humans are using this chance to show their military strength to the entire galaxy. This isn't just about the Cronins, it's about us. It's about changing how every species sees human power. As the Defiant flew closer to its meeting with the Cronin fleet, Captain Hayes knew that this moment would be written in history books. One ship against many, carrying the hopes and fears of Earth. The real battle wouldn't be fought with weapons or shields. It would be fought with perception. And humans were ready to show the galaxy exactly what they could do. On his main ship, the Imperious Will, War Commander Draz got a message from the Cronin Emperor himself. You will not fight the human ship, the Emperor ordered. Stay where you are and watch what it does. This is a direct order. Draz was shocked. Your greatness, we have many more ships than they do. To back away would show weakness. It would show wisdom, the Emperor cut him off. Our spies have caught Alliance messages. They fear what this human ship means. If even the Alliance is worried, we would be fools to rush into battle. Meanwhile, on the Defiant, Captain Hayes got new orders from Earth Command. The situation has changed, Captain, Admiral Frank Nelson told her. Your mission is different now. The Defiant can now talk from a position of strength rather than fight right away. Make it clear that we can defend what is ours, but give the Cronins a chance to leave without shame. Hayes accepted the orders, though part of her felt let down. The Defiant was built for battle, its advanced weapons not yet tested in real combat. Weapons Station, plot a course that will put us between the Cronin fleet and New Eden Colony, she ordered. Communications, get ready to send a message on all channels when we arrive. Let's make sure everyone in this sector sees this. Yes, Captain, answered Communications Officer Olivia Parker. Message ready at your command. The Defiant dropped out of hyperspace, appearing right in the path of the Cronin ships. The human ship was much smaller than the lead Cronin battle ship. Yet it moved with grace like a hunter, its weapon ports open in clear warning. This is Captain Susan Hayes of the United Earth ship Defiant, she sent out. The colony of New Eden is under Earth protection. Any attack against it will be met with immediate strong response. We are ready to talk about terms for your peaceful exit from this sector. For several tense minutes there was no answer. Then finally War Commander Draz's image appeared on the main screen. Captain Hayes, he said, his translator struggling with the hard sounds of his native tongue. The Cronin Imperium hears your claim. We will set up a neutral zone between our spaces until formal talks. It was a win without firing a single shot, and somehow that made it even more powerful. The message was clear. Humans didn't need to fight to prove they could win. Back at the Alliance Council chamber, the news of the peaceful resolution caused both relief and new worries. The Cronins gave in without a fight? The Tellurian representative could not believe it. This is not like them at all. The human ship must have capabilities we do not know about, said the Void-born ambassador. The Cronins have excellent spies. If they chose to back down, they must have learned something that frightened them. The Alliance High Marshal nodded. I want a complete analysis of the Defiant. Every scan, every bit of data we could gather. If the humans have made a technological leap, we need to know exactly what kind of advantage they now have. Lieutenant Miller stood silently in the corner of the chamber, listening. His job as Earth's eyes and ears in the Alliance was becoming more important by the day. The Defiant's mission had worked exactly as planned, perhaps too well. Now everyone would be watching humans very closely. On the bridge of the Defiant, Captain Hayes accepted the congratulations of her crew with quiet pride. We've accomplished our mission without bloodshed, she told them. But this is just the beginning. Every power in the galaxy will now be trying to figure out exactly what this ship can do. Let them wonder, said Lieutenant Brooks with a grin. Half of warfare is making the enemy think you're stronger than you are. Hayes nodded. And the other half is actually being stronger than they think you are. She turned to her communications officer. Olivia, send a message to Earth Command. Mission accomplished, awaiting further orders. As the message transmitted, Hayes looked at the star map showing human territory. It was still small compared to the vast empires of the older species, but it was growing. And now, with the Defiant, as proof of human ingenuity that growth would likely speed up. The formal diplomatic meeting aboard the Alliance Station Harmony Point was tense. Representatives from 12 species mixed awkwardly, their attention repeatedly drawn to the human delegation. Captain Hayes stood beside Ambassador Patrick Foster, very aware that her uniform, with its clean lines and few decorations, sent a very different message than the fancy diplomatic clothes worn by other military representatives. They're all watching us, she said quietly to Foster. The ambassador nodded slightly. That was the point of this whole exercise. The Defiant isn't just a warship, it's a statement of intent. And what exactly is that intent, Ambassador? Asked the Tellurian diplomatic aide who had approached without sound. Your species moves forward with remarkable speed. Some find it concerning. Foster smiled warmly. Our intent is simple: to survive and do well. Humanity has always been able to adapt. It's our greatest strength. Some might call it aggression, the Tellurian replied. I prefer to think of it as preparation. Hayes cut in. Humanity learned early in its history that peace is best kept through strength. Across the room, War Commander Draz watched the human captain with new respect. He had reviewed the Defiant's capabilities in detail. The ship could have destroyed his fleet, yet the humans had chosen to hold back. A curious species, he said to the Alliance High Marshal beside him. They build weapons that can destroy greatly, then choose not to use them. That is exactly what makes them dangerous, the High Marshal replied. Other species fight for conquest or resources, humans fight for beliefs, and that makes them hard to predict. Later that evening, Hayes found herself face-to-face with Admiral Vextar of the Alliance fleet. The tall, insect-like officer studied her with many eyes that showed nothing of his thoughts. Your ship, he began without greeting. It uses technologies we thought were just theory. Your shield methods, your engine system, they show big steps forward. Hayes kept her professional manner. Need drives new ideas, Admiral. Earth doesn't have the resources or people of Alliance worlds. We make up for it through doing more with less and creative thinking. And yet you chose not to show your ship's full abilities against the Cronins, Vextar noticed. An interesting decision. The most powerful weapon is the one you never have to fire, Hayes responded. The Defiant did its job without bloodshed. The Admiral's mouth parts clicked in what Hayes had learned was a sign of amusement. You humans have a saying, I believe. Speak softly and carry a big stick. Your Defiant is quite the stick, Captain. Hayes smiled. We've found it's a good approach to galaxy politics. As the diplomatic talks continued into the night, the word spread through the stars. A single human ship had faced down the mighty Cronin fleet, and the Cronins had backed down. Something had changed in the balance of power, and every species was now trying to understand what it meant for the future. For Captain Hayes and the crew of the Defiant, it meant mission success. For humanity, it meant a new chapter in their story among the stars had begun. 1 month after the Proxima incident, the USS Defiant docked at Earth's orbital station. Captain Hayes stood at attention as Admiral Nelson and the Joint Chiefs of Staff boarded for inspection. "At ease, Captain," Nelson said. "Your mission was a complete success. The Cronin Imperium has signed a peace agreement and the Alliance has invited Earth to join their Defense Council as a full member rather than just a watcher." Hayes nodded. "The crew did very well, sir." "They did," Nelson agreed. "But it's what you didn't do that made the difference. Every prediction said you would fight the Cronin fleet." "Sometimes the greatest show of strength is holding back," Hayes replied. Nelson smiled. "You sound like a diplomat. You should know that your actions have changed how we are seen throughout the galaxy. The Defiant's technology has been studied by every major power, and none of them can match it." "That was part of the plan, I assume," Hayes said. "Of course, humanity needed to make a statement. For too long we've been seen as the newcomers, the simple ones just learning to move between stars." The Admiral's face grew serious. "But there's something you should know. The Defiant isn't actually our most advanced ship." Hayes raised an eyebrow in surprise. "The true purpose of your mission had 2 parts," Nelson explained. "First, to set our boundaries with the Cronins. Second, to give our potential competitors something to look at, a ship impressive enough to get respect, but not so advanced as to show our real abilities." Later that evening, Hayes stood in her apartment looking over San Francisco Bay, thinking about the Admiral's words. The Defiant, with all its groundbreaking technology, was already old news. Somewhere in the shipyards of Mars or Europa, even more advanced ships were being built. Her message screen beeped, showing an encrypted message from Lieutenant Miller, still serving as Earth's watcher with the Alliance fleet. "Captain," he reported, "your show of force has worked as planned. Alliance military planners are completely changing their views of human abilities. They've moved Earth from growing power to major concern in their threat lists." "And how do they feel about that?" Hayes asked. Miller smiled. "Scared, impressed, but mostly curious. They've begun to understand that humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our battle plans, it's our view of things. We see possibilities where they see limits." Hayes thought about the Defiant, now being studied by Alliance engineers, who would learn much from its design but not everything. Not the secret systems that stayed locked behind layers of security. "The galaxy is changing, John," she said. "And we're no longer just coming along for the ride." "No, ma'am," Miller agreed. "We're helping to steer the course. The message has been heard across the stars. Prepare yourselves. Humanity has arrived on the battlefield." As the communication ended, Hayes looked up at the night sky. The stars no longer seemed far away and out of reach. They were destinations, possibilities, future homes for a species that had evolved not just to survive, but to do well against all odds. The Defiant had been just the beginning. Humanity's journey among the stars was just starting. Back at the Alliance headquarters, Admiral Vexitar was reviewing the data on the Defiant for the 10th time. Something didn't add up. "The power readings from their engine core are inconsistent," he told his science officer. "There are moments when the output drops well below what would be needed to maintain their shield strength." "Could it be a sensor error?" the science officer suggested. "Across 3 different Alliance monitoring stations?" Vexitar clicked his mandibles in frustration. "No, the humans are hiding something. Their technology is either much more efficient than it appears, or what, Admiral? Or the Defiant is not their true breakthrough," he finished. "It could be a distraction, meant to focus our attention while they develop something else entirely." The science officer's compound eyes widened. "That would be a very complex deception." "They are a complex species," Vexitar replied. "Their history is full of wars won through misdirection and surprise. We would be fools to take the Defiant at face value." At the New Eden colony, Governor Linda Patel welcomed Captain Hayes with a warm handshake. "You've made history, Captain," she said as They walked through the colony's main dome. 6 months ago, we were afraid the Cronins would take this world. Now they respect our boundaries. Hayes looked around at the thriving settlement. Nearly 10,000 humans had made this distant planet their home, growing food in huge greenhouses and mining the rich mineral deposits in the mountains. This is what we're fighting for, Hayes said. Not just territory, but the right to grow and build without fear. And thanks to the Defiant, we can do just that, Patel replied. She lowered her voice. Is it true what they're saying? That the Defiant was just a test run for something bigger? Hayes kept her face neutral. Governor, all I can say is that Earth takes the defense of its colonies very seriously. The Alliance and the Cronin Imperium got the message this time. If we need to send another message in the future, it will be even clearer. That evening, as the Defiant prepared to depart New Eden, Hayes received a call from Earth Command. New orders, Captain, Admiral Nelson said. We're sending you to the Tau, SETI system. The Voidborn have been pushing the boundaries of their territory there, and we need to remind them of our agreement. Another show of force? Hayes asked. Nelson nodded. Same approach as before. Be visible, be strong, but do not engage unless absolutely necessary. The Defiant's reputation now works in our favor. Just your presence might be enough to change their plans. Understood, sir. We'll depart immediately. As the communication ended, Hayes turned to her executive officer, Commander Ryan Carter. Set course for Tau Ceti, Ryan. Let's see if lightning can strike twice. Do you think the Voidborn will back down like the Cronins did? Carter asked. Hayes considered this. The Voidborn are different, more calculating. They might test us to see if the Defiant is really as powerful as rumors suggest. And if they do? Hayes smiled. Then we'll have to show them just enough to be convincing without revealing all our cards. It's a fine line to walk. Carter nodded. You know, if someone had told me 5 years ago that a single human ship would be changing the power balance in this sector, I'd have called them crazy. 5 years ago, we were still trying to prove we belonged at the table, Hayes replied. Now we're helping to set the menu. As the Defiant broke orbit and accelerated toward its next mission, word of its movement spread quickly through Alliance channels. The Voidborn immediately began recalling ships from the disputed zone, not willing to risk a confrontation. The human warship had entered the battlefield of galactic politics, and without firing a single shot, it had already changed the rules of the game. The USS Defiant moved through space toward the Tau Ceti system. Its sleek form cut through the darkness like a knife, its presence alone enough to send ripples of concern through alien communication channels. Captain Hayes sat in her ready room, reviewing the reports about the Voidborn incursion. The alien race was known for testing boundaries, pushing just far enough to see what they could get away with. But unlike the Cronins, they rarely committed to open conflict. They preferred subtle moves and slow expansion. Captain, to the bridge, came Commander Carter's voice over the comm. When Hayes arrived on the bridge, she found her crew watching the main screen with interest. A Voidborn diplomatic ship had appeared, well ahead of the disputed zone. They're hailing us, Captain, said Communications Officer Parker. On screen, Hayes ordered, straightening her uniform. The image of the Voidborn ambassador filled the screen. Unlike most species, the Voidborn had evolved in the near-vacuum conditions of a dying gas giant. Their translucent bodies pulsed with strange light patterns, their thoughts and emotions displayed through complex bioluminescence. Captain Hayes, the ambassador greeted her, its translator converting the light patterns into human speech. Your presence in this sector is unexpected. We were under the impression that Tau Ceti was open for scientific exploration. Ambassador, Hayes replied with a respectful nod. Earth's colony on Tau Ceti 3 has reported 7 Voidborn ships, conducting what appeared to be mineral surveys within their territorial limits. We are merely here to ensure there are no misunderstandings about established boundaries. The ambassador's skin flashed with patterns that the translator didn't attempt to interpret. A simple diplomatic inquiry would have sufficed. Sending a warship of the Defiance on reputation could be seen as threatening. Hayes smiled slightly. We find that clear communication prevents problems. The Defiant is merely the messenger. A messenger armed with the most advanced weapon systems in the quadrant, the ambassador noted. Very well. I will inform my government that the humans are particularly interested in Tau Ceti. Our survey ships will be redirected to other regions. I appreciate your understanding, Hayes said. Earth looks forward to continued peaceful relations with the Voidborn Collective. As the communication ended, Carter looked at Hayes with a raised eyebrow. That was easy. Too easy, Hayes replied. The Voidborn never give up anything without getting something in return. They're planning something. Should we remain in the system? Carter asked. Hayes nodded. For at least a week. I want to make sure those survey ships actually leave. Meanwhile, on the Voidborn command ship hiding behind Tau Ceti's outer moon, lead researcher Zivel was making a surprising discovery. Supreme Guide, he reported to his leader. Our deep scans of the human vessel have revealed something unusual. There are energy patterns within their shield system that do not match any known technology. The Supreme Guide's body lit up with curious patterns. Elaborate. The humans appear to have developed a way to link their defensive and offensive systems in a symbiotic relationship, Zivel explained. When their weapons are activated, their shields actually grow stronger, rather than drawing power away from them. How is this possible? I believe they may have discovered principles of energy manipulation that we have not yet mastered, Zivel admitted. The Alliance scientists will certainly reach the same conclusion when they analyze their scan data. The Supreme Guide pulsed with decision patterns. This changes our approach. If the humans have indeed made such a breakthrough, direct confrontation would be unwise. We must pursue a different strategy. Back on the Defiant, Lieutenant Brooks approached Captain Hayes with a concerned expression. Captain, we're detecting unusual scan patterns from the far side of the outer moon. They're using frequencies designed to penetrate our shield harmonics. Hayes frowned. The Voidborn are trying to learn our secrets. Let them look. Should we adjust our shields to block them? Brooks asked. No, Hayes replied with a small smile. Let's give them something to see. Engineering. Initiate Protocol Mirage. Initiating Protocol Mirage, Captain, came the response from Chief Engineer Ramirez. Throughout the ship, carefully designed systems began generating false readings. Anyone scanning the Defiant would now detect complex energy patterns that suggested capabilities far beyond what the ship actually possessed. It was a technological bluff, designed specifically for curious eyes. On the Voidborn ship, Zivel's excitement grew as new readings poured in. Supreme Guide, the human ship has activated some kind of advanced energy matrix. These readings suggest they could generate enough power to destroy a small moon. The Supreme Guide flashed with alarm. Patterns. Are they preparing to attack? No, Zivel replied after further analysis. It appears to be a passive system. Perhaps they detected our scans and are warning us of their capabilities. The Supreme Guide made a decision. Recall all ships from this sector immediately. Share this data with the Alliance. If the humans possess such technology, all species must reevaluate their position. Over the next few days, the Defiant remained in orbit around Tau Ceti III, while Captain Hayes met with the human colony leaders on the surface. The Voidborn have completely withdrawn from the system, she informed Governor Carl Watson. But I don't think they've given up their interest in this region. They'll be back, just with a different approach. Will we have protection when they return? Watson asked. Earth is establishing a permanent defense platform here, Hayes assured him. It won't be as powerful as the Defiant, but it will be enough to discourage casual incursions. And if they bring a major fleet? Hayes gave him a confident look. Then Earth will respond accordingly. The days when our colonies could be threatened with impunity are over. As Hayes prepared to return to her ship, she received a priority message from Admiral Nelson. Captain, your mission at Tau Ceti has had unexpected results. The Voidborn have approached the Alliance Council with a proposal for a technology-sharing agreement that would include Earth. They seem quite eager to establish better relations with us. Hayes couldn't help but laugh. Protocol. Mirage worked even better than we hoped, sir. Indeed, Nelson agreed. Sometimes the appearance of strength is just as effective as the real thing. Return to Earth, Captain. Your next assignment is already being prepared. As the Defiant left the Tau Ceti system, news of its visit spread throughout the sector. The human warship was quickly becoming legendary, a symbol of humanity's unexpected rise to power among the stars. And no one knew that its greatest strength wasn't its weapons or its technology, but the clever minds who used it to reshape galactic politics without firing a single shot. 6 months after the Tau Ceti mission, the USS Defiant underwent a major upgrade at the Mars shipyards. Captain Hayes watched from an observation deck as workers swarmed over the hull, installing new systems and enhancing existing ones. "Quite a view, isn't it?" said a voice behind her. Hayes turned to find Admiral Nelson joining her at the window. "The improvements are impressive, sir, but I can't help wondering why we're putting so much into the Defiant when you mentioned we have more advanced ships." Nelson smiled. "Because the Defiant has become a symbol, Susan. When alien powers see this ship now, they see the face of human military might. That reputation is worth more than a dozen secret vessels." A technician approached them with a data pad. "Admiral Captain, the new shield matrix is online and the weapon upgrades are complete. The Defiant is now 40% more powerful than before. And that's exactly what we want everyone to know," Nelson said, taking the pad and signing off on the upgrades. "Our next move requires the galaxy to believe the Defiant is our most advanced ship." Hayes raised an eyebrow. "May I ask what that next move is, sir?" "We're going to the heart of Alliance space," Nelson replied. "The Alliance Council has invited Earth to participate in their annual defense exercises. It's the first time a new species has been asked to join in less than a century of contact. That's quite an honor," Hayes said. Nelson's expression grew serious. "It's also a test. They want to see exactly what the Defiant can do in controlled combat conditions. Every major power will be watching. And what exactly are we supposed to show them?" "Just enough to confirm their fears," Nelson said with a slight smile. "But not enough to reveal our true capabilities. It's a delicate balance." 2 weeks later, the Defiant arrived at the Alliance military testing grounds in the Arcturus system. 5 other warships were already present, representing the major powers of the galactic community. On the bridge, Lieutenant Brooks whistled softly as the scanner data came in. "Those are some serious warships, Captain. The Solarian Dreadnought is 3 times our size." "Size isn't everything, Lieutenant," Hayes replied calmly. "Begin passive scans of all vessels. I want to know their capabilities before we start these exercises." The comm system chimed. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission from the Alliance command station." On screen, Hayes ordered. Admiral Vextar appeared, his insect-like features unreadable to human eyes. "Captain Hayes, welcome to the Alliance defense exercises. We are honored by Earth's participation." "The honor is ours, Admiral," Hayes replied with diplomatic grace. "The Defiant and her crew are looking forward to learning from this experience." "Indeed." Something like amusement flickered in Vextar's compound eyes. "The exercise will begin in 6 hours. Each vessel will be required to demonstrate defensive and offensive capabilities in a series of tests. There will also be simulated combat scenarios." "We'll be ready," Hayes assured him. As the communication ended, Carter approached Hayes. "They're going to be watching our every move. How much do we show them?" "Enough to be respected, not enough to be feared," Hayes replied. "Earth wants allies, not enemies." When the exercises began, the Defiant performed impressively but not exceptionally. In the basic maneuver tests, Hayes deliberately kept their responses measured, showing good but not remarkable capabilities. The Cronin battlecruiser and the Solarian Dreadnought dominated the weapons tests, their massive energy cannons creating spectacular displays of firepower. When the Defiant's turn came, Hayes ordered a restrained demonstration of their main weapons showing accuracy over raw power. "Captain," Brooks said quietly, "at this rate, we'll be rated as only the 4th most capable ship here. Is that the plan?" "Patience, Lieutenant," Hayes replied. "The real test is yet to come." The final exercise was a simulated defense scenario. Each ship would take turns attempting to penetrate the shields of an Alliance defense platform while the other ships observed. The Voidborn ship went first, using its advanced energy weapons to methodically wear down the platform's shields. It took nearly 7 minutes to succeed. Next came the Cronin battlecruiser, using brute force to hammer the shields into submission in just under 5 minutes. When the Defiant's turn came, Hayes gathered her crew. Now we show them something. Special. Tactical, use pattern Delta. Engineering, initiate the resonance system. As the Defiant approached the platform, it fired a seemingly random pattern of low-power shots. To observers, it appeared inefficient, almost amateur. But each shot hit at precise points, creating a resonance pattern in the shield harmonics. Fire main weapons 30% power, Hayes ordered calmly. A relatively modest energy beam lanced out from the Defiant, striking the shield at exactly the right frequency. The entire defense grid flickered and collapsed in just under 2 minutes. Silence fell across all communication channels. Then Admiral Vextar's voice came through. Most impressive, Captain Hayes. Your approach was unexpected. Sometimes, the right key works better than a battering ram, Admiral, Hayes replied. Later, at the formal reception concluding the exercises, representatives from all species approached Hayes and her officers with new respect in their manner. The Cronin War. Commander grudgingly raised his ceremonial cup to her. A clever tactic, Captain, using resonance to collapse the shields rather than raw power. We've found that understanding a system is often more effective than overwhelming it, Hayes replied. Admiral Vextar joined them. The Alliance Council is most impressed with Earth's approach to space combat. Your ship may not be the largest or most heavily armed, but it is perhaps the most efficiently designed we have encountered. We value efficiency, Hayes said. Earth doesn't have the resources to build massive fleets. We must make each ship count. A philosophy that has served you well, Vextar observed. The Council has voted to offer Earth full membership in the Alliance Defense Network, with all the benefits and responsibilities that entails. Hayes kept her expression neutral, though inside she felt triumph. This had been Earth's goal all along, recognition as an equal power deserving of full Alliance protection. Earth will be honored to consider the offer, she replied diplomatically as the reception continued. Lieutenant Miller approached Hayes. Mission accomplished, Captain, he said quietly. Earth has just gained the protection of the largest military force in the galaxy, all without firing a real shot in anger. Hayes smiled. And that, Lieutenant, is the true power of the Defiant. Not its weapons or shields, but what it represents. Humanity's arrival on the galactic stage. From the observation deck of the Alliance station, Hayes looked out at the stars and the assembled warships. The Defiant seemed small among them, yet it had changed the balance of power in ways no one could have predicted. A single human warship had entered the battlefield of galactic politics, and without destruction or conquest, it had secured humanity's future among the stars.